Welcome to the Thornton Review.
The show designed with you in mind. If it's important to you, it's important to us.
The water utility in Pensacola used to be run by the ESCAMBIA County Board of County Commissioners. In 1981, that was changed by an act of the Florida legislature for the water utility to become an individual entity and to own, manage, finance, promote, improve, and expand the water and wastewater systems of ESCAMBIA County and the city of Pensacola. That act essentially added a layer of government to ESCAMBIA County. Charles and I wanted to know if that was a good or bad idea, so we invited Vicki Campbell, who is the current District 1 board member for ECUA, to explain it to us. But first, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll begin our discussion with Vicki and learn a little more about what is now the Emerald Coast Utilities Authority. There is no government-funded program that can guide a man's thoughts. Only God can do that. Alpha Fence Company can install any type of fence. When you call and mention the Thornton Review, you'll receive a $100 discount on your fence. They also offer military discounts. Vinyl fence, wood fence, aluminum fence, chain link fence. If it has the word fence, Alpha Fence Company can do it. 850-695-9526. 850-695-9526. Vicki Campbell completed her real estate paralegal studies at Pensacola State College and has been a licensed title agent since 2002. She is currently Senior Vice President of Perdido Title and Abstract Company Incorporated and Managing Member of CX3 Title Consulting LLC. Vicki is well known for being active in the community through her involvement in numerous charities and organizations. Vicki's political endeavors began when she was the governor appointee in 2009 as the consumer member to the Florida Board of Dentistry, and in 2010 as the American Board of Dental Examiners consumer member to the House of Representatives. Vicki has served since 2012 as the elected District 1 board member of the Emerald Coast Utilities Authority. Vicki and her husband Mike have one son together, Cody, and are avid golfers and members of Christ Episcopal Church. Hi, I'm Pichelle Schneier, executive producer of the Thornton Review.
And I'm Charles Thornton, Chief Executive Officer of the Thornton Review.
So Vicki, it is so nice to have you on the show. Welcome back. We had you on a little over a year ago, and we spoke about a lot of information, including the importance of a transfer station, recycling and contamination, redundancy and emergency storage tanks, and granular active filters to remove PFOs and PFOAs. So today I'd like to focus on what's been done, the improvements, and find out what progress has been made on what we spoke about a year ago. First off, can you tell us why we even have an elected ECUA board? Shouldn't that be something that the County Board of County Commissioners runs? And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's probably a good thing if you're a property owner. And I'll tell you the reason why. ECUA, they have no funding source. So like the city of Pensacola has a funding source, the county has a funding source of property tax, right? Everything they do, they have to fund, and they fund it through your property tax or fees, that they have in place. But ECUA doesn't have a funding in place, like property tax. So everything has to go on your bill. Mm-hmm. So the infrastructure for your water and sewer has to be on your water bill.
Right.
not on your property tax. So the other 67 counties that don't have, yes, the ones that don't have a utility authority, if you look at their tax bill, you'll see all those infrastructure fees. People complain about the water fee, the water bill having all the fees on it. So in other counties, those fees are on your property tax bill at the end of the year. But so
your property tax is going to be that much higher,
right?
But instead, we're paying it
on the water bill.
Year.
So it's not just property owners; it's everybody that uses water and sewer.
So people who rent, doctors' offices who lease businesses. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that would be the only difference that I see as far as. People complain that it's an extra layer of government, but you got to keep in mind we have a $192 million budget at ECUA.
That's huge.
It's very big. To run your water, sewer, and garbage, it's $192 million a year.
Wow.
If you ask what would be the difference if we were part of the county, the only difference would be the board. You would not have a board. That would all be under the county commission, and you would not have an administrative staff. It would all be under the county administrator. That is 1% of our budget.
Okay.
1%.
They get paychecks.
It's $474,000 a year for the board to run. It's $152,000 for the administrative.
So that's pretty much what the difference in the budget is.
It's 1%.
Whether it's under county commission or its own entity.
So if you like the way ECUA board and administrative staff is working, it's 1%. It's not really that big of a
It pretty much makes sense because ECUA there's 5 departments and there's department heads and there's so much that goes at the infrastructure is just, phenomenal. The central water reclamation facility, the recycles material, the compost, everything, the infrastructure.
Yeah.
The pipes under the ground is so huge. It's so much.
600 employees.
Yeah. It's so much to know about, to have that also on the county commissioner's plate. With everything else that's going on in the county, it just makes sense to have its own entity.
Yeah, I don't think it's that costly. So,
right.
6 one way, half a dozen another. You're going to pay the fees, except the fact that those improvement fees, the capital improvement fees on the water are borne by everyone. They're borne by everyone that uses the water, the developers that
not just
build,
the property owners.
Not just the property owners. And so property owners should be happy about it.
Absolutely. I am.
Happy about the fact that they have the utility authority. And I don't know who created it, but I noticed that I think Santa Rosa's looking at a utility authority as well. So there is one other in the state, and I'd be lying if I said what county it was, but I did speak to the one of the county commissioners at the Palm Beach County, and I said, how do you do that? How do you take care of both things? And he said, we just put on a different hat. And I think they have an administrator of their water and sewer there too. So it's just
it's a lot to know.
Government's a lot.
Vicki, I have a question. You mentioned Santa Rosa. At one time, we had sort of a partnership or an agreement with Santa Rosa to do some stuff. Whatever happened to that?
You talking about on sanitation?
Yeah, on sanitation.
So that I personally felt like it was taken away from ESCAMBIA County to keep doing Santa Rosa sanitation.
The contamination was high, wasn't it? And the recycling.
I'm not.
I guess that's ESCAMBIA County I'm thinking of.
That's that's the city.
It just didn't work out.
It just didn't work out, and I think they had a different way to go, and it was okay with us, and it wasn't a bad parting, but
I got a couple more questions. I've known you for a while, and you've been on the board for a while. How long have you been on the board, and what initially motivated you? And since you've been there, what do you feel like some of your major accomplishment of what type of improvement have you seen since you've been there? I know you're totally engaged, and I know if anyone can tell a story, you can tell it.
Well, some of the things that we've done as a board since I've been on the board, and we have a great board, by the way. I think we have a dynamic board. They work well together. we represent 5 different districts. We were talking about that earlier, that how different the districts are. I represent the west side of Pensacola, and the west side of Pensacola needs are a lot different than District 3, where you live, downtown. And they're a lot different than District 4, which is Pensacola Beach and the east side of, and then of course everybody's more different than Cantonment. You know, Cantonment, they don't have a lot of water and sewer up there, so sanitation is their big, you know, hot button up in the north end of the county. So it's different, you know, no matter where you are. But I think some of the things that we've done very well since I've come on the board, we first added the natural gas fleet. And I think that is one of the best things that we did, because we saved millions of dollars in fuel. And as time has gone on, that's proven that it is really a lot better. Those trucks are easier to maintain. The second year that I was on the board, we came out with a 16-year plan of reparation, because I don't know if you know that ECUA was under a consent order to repair your infrastructure. You live in one of the oldest cities in the United States. If you put the pipes end to end in Escambia County, they would reach Canada. That's how many pipes you have here. So it's over 2,000 miles.
Very complex system.
Pipes.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those pipes were old. We found clay pipes underneath the city of Pensacola. We started that repair.
With roots growing through them, probably.
Roots growing through. And we started it in downtown Pensacola because it was the oldest part. You know?
Right.
But then we've grown out, and we either reline or replace millions and millions of dollars worth of pipes
When
already.
I was on the Citizens Advisory Committee, someone came in with a presentation on how they lined the pipes, and that was a huge
That's a cost saver, because you don't replace them, you just reline them.
Yes.
When that mandate came in, was it an unfunded mandate or was it funded?
Unfunded. So government up there doesn't fund anything down here. Okay, we have to fund it ourselves. So that's a good question. If we didn't do it, they would come in and do it for us, and then your bills would be the highest in the state. Now, with all that said, you should be happy as a person that lives in Escambia County. You have one of the best systems in the state of Florida. So that sewer treatment plant alone, which the state of Florida, city of Pensacola, and Escambia County all paid for, with a little bit of, with the help of the ratepayers, they're still paying it. That's one of those fees that's on your bill. You have one of the best sewer treatment plants in the state of Florida. So, you know, you have a good infrastructure.
I've taken
a good infrastructure costs money.
I've taken a tour. I've actually taken a tour and seen the process, how the water go through the different cycles and stuff like that.
It's fun.
Yeah.
We expanded recycling, and that, you know, everything's waste to energy. You know, we do the compost facility. It's world renowned. I mean, people have been here from all over to look at how we do that. Turn your yard waste. Turn your yard waste into a reusable entity. You know,
absolutely.
That's unbelievable. You know, I don't think we're done on recycle. The best thing we could do is a energy producing waste to energy. The county has a 25.
Love that idea.
Well, the county has a 25-year contract with Florida Power, formerly Gulf Power. So they do mine your gas at the landfill and turn it into reusable energy.
I got something I want to say to the public right here. I'm a recycle person. I actually, my son comes over and he takes my trash out on Thursday, and he take it and set it outside because they pick mine up on Friday. But I make sure that I put all of my glass, my plastic, my boxes, and what I done was I actually went to the ECUA site and I looked it up. And if you don't know what's recyclable and what's not recyclable, you can actually go to ECUA site. You don't have to go there, and it tells you. And for a long time, I was guessing at it, and I kind of had it wrong a little bit. I didn't know about I wasn't sure about the cardboard boxes, but cardboard boxes are recyclable. And I picked that up, and glass, that's recycled. Plastic.
Some plastics aren't.
And if you don't know,
most plastics aren't.
Please recycle. If you have a gray can, we call them can, but they're plastic, you know. But if you have the gray one and the green one, please use the gray one for recycling. If not, and Vicki will probably tell you that, then you might as well just store everything in the green one. But please use the gray one for recycling. If you don't know what it is, go to the website or call somebody. That's my 2 cents.
I like it. One of the things I promised the last time I ran was we would have an app for your cell phone, and we now have an app for your cell phone. It's called the Recycle Coach app, and you can look on there and see what you can and can't recycle. It will remind you when your garbage man comes. You can push a button on there and tell them that your recycle can didn't get picked up or your trash can didn't get picked up. So that's a pretty cool thing. And we've changed the way you pay your bills within the next 60 to 90 days. You'll be able to start tracking your usage online if you want to. And a lot of people want to do that. I'm a little cheap, so I squeak when I walk, and I like to know what I'm using now. And now I don't have my mom living with me anymore. I don't have my son living with me anymore. It's just Mike and I. So I try to keep that bill as low as I can. And a way to do that is to track your usage and know when you're using water and when you're not. And you can do
So
that.
that'll kind of tell you if you have a leak, maybe.
Yeah, you'll be able to do that
If your usage is
online.
higher than usual, then you can check for a leak and figure out what's going on.
That's right. Another thing is policy updates. So government can get old just like anything else,
Right.
and it does. And we took a look at some of the policy and codes of the ECUA recently and realized, we needed to make a lot of change. So this big folder behind me over here, that is all the policy and code changes for the ECUA. That old 1981 law, we had to go in there and change some of the policy and code.
Right.
And so thankfully, Michelle Salzman and Alex Andrade and our legislative delegation, Senator Broxson, they are all very helpful with that. And so they've helped us change do some
Just
updates.
to update.
And we have a
make
really
it-
good lawyer now. He's helping with that as well. Another thing is cybersecurity. I don't know, people, it's a big hot button, but I think you've seen recently, I know in my personal industry of real estate, the largest insurers in the world, First American Title Insurance and Fidelity National Title Insurance, I'm sure you've heard of Fidelity, right? They were both hacked last year. One right around Thanksgiving, one right around Christmas. They paid $100 million each in ransomware. The city of Pensacola has been hacked. The county's been hacked. So cybersecurity is very important to me. We had a presentation last week from our staff on our cybersecurity. We have a. If you click on the wrong thing as a employee of the ECUA, we make you take classes, and we have a 92% success rate with how that's going right now with people not clicking on the wrong thing. So that's a good thing. 99.2%. That is a very
Now,
good
what
thing.
do they click on again?
So, if
When
you get
you're
an
Google
email,
searching?
if you get an email,
Okay.
you can get an email from someone. Like I got one
Oh, a spam email.
from someone
and it
that
says it's
said,
from ECUA.
click here, I need you to do this for your Amazon bill.
Right.
Well, I didn't have an Amazon bill, so I'm not going to click on it. But a lot of people will click on those things, and employees at different places. I know I do this at my office. We test our employees. We send them fake emails to see if they will click on it. And if they do, then we make them take classes. So the ECUA is doing the same thing.
Interesting.
Trying to keep our sites
So we have in
secure.
place a cybersecurity section there within
Yes.
ECUA.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And I would tell you more about that, but since
That's
it's such
okay,
a
so
sensitive,
we have it.
Right.
It's very sensitive, so I'm not going to tell you how we do it, but we're doing a really good job with cybersecurity, and that's very important to me. So
Makes sense.
that's just some of the things that we've done over the last few years.
Absolutely. So, should we take a commercial break? And because I want to talk about something about incinerating garbage
We
when
can
we
do
come
that.
back.
Okay.
So we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussion with the Vicki Campbell, District 1 ECUA Board Representative. There is no government-funded program that can guide a man's thoughts. Only God can do that. Alpha Fence Company can install any type of fence. When you call and mention the Thornton Review, you'll receive a $100 discount on your fence. They also offer military discounts. Vinyl fence, wood fence, aluminum fence, chain link fence. If it has the word fence, Alpha Fence Company can do it. 850-695-9526. 850-695-9526. So Vicki, I'd like to talk about waste to energy. I've noticed driving past the landfill, I've seen these things coming up out of the ground. I was wondering what that was.
Yeah.
But apparently that is what used to be Gulf Power, Florida Power and Light is taking the do they use methane? Methane and convert it to natural gas for us, for heaters and water heaters and to power our homes. But can you expand on that a little more? Yeah,
so waste to energy it's growing. I visited a plant in Palm Beach County that they actually burn through all of their garbage. Everything. They incinerate everything and turn it into energy.
Okay, why aren't we doing that?
We're not doing that because that's a $600 million plant when I looked at it, and that was a few years ago, so it's probably $1 billion plant right now. Now, with that said,
it can be done.
It can be done. With that said, you could probably do it as a regional, and that would be something for the county, other counties.
I'm thinking like from Mobile to Panama City.
Mobile to probably more like Biloxi to Okaloosa County.
Right.
But we're not there yet. But that is something that you probably will see in the future. Right now, we have a 100-year landfill. I don't know exactly where they are in date, but they are mining the gas.
They started that in the early 80s.
Yeah.
I was in middle school.
Yeah, so it's still got some life in it, but it is something to be thinking about in the future.
Sure is.
So and technology will get better. It's not always good to be the first person to do something, but emulation is a good teacher. Yeah. So let's watch other people, see what they do, and things get cheaper. That's just like cell phones.
Right. So they incinerate all the garbage from their entire municipality. What do they do? I mean, it's that the smoke and everything has to be captured somehow or filtered.
Yeah, it has to be.
They're not just burning it; it's just going out in the air.
No, because that would be against EPA.
Yeah.
So their technology I couldn't even begin to tell you. But I was there, did see it happening. You could look through
I wonder if they're converting that to energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Like
absolutely.
Gas energy or
electricity.
Electricity.
Yes. Just like
we're doing. There you go.
Well, we're turning ours into electricity. We're working with Florida Power and Light. So, and it's that was a 25-year contract. I don't know exactly where they are in that, and they could, they could extend that.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure they will, but it seems like they would.
I'm sure they will. It's working. It's a good relationship. I'm pretty sure. So
I'm just so interested in the workings of it, though. Like, so they get them. Like, how do they get it? Is it piped all the way down to?
It is piped to when you drive into the landfill, the facility is over on the right.
Okay.
So the landfill's on the left. The recycle center's past that. It's on the right-hand side. That's where you'll see the Florida Power and Light. It used to be Gulf Power. That's where that contract.
I understand that you're running for re-election this term, right?
Yes, sir.
You're up for running for re-election, and I want the audience to know that I've known Vicki a while, and I've heard of her opponent. I've seen her a couple of times, and I want you to know, and I'm going to say this here, that you have my full support, and I'm going to do everything within my power to support you. And I see in your notes here where you work with Evan McCorvey, and Evan was a dear friend of mine, and you said you learned a lesson from Evan. Tell us about that lesson that you learned from Evan McCorvey, who was a dear friend of mine.
That's a good thing that you asked. So government can be when people call me, they're like, hey, you did this and you did that, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not ECUA. I don't work for ECUA. So once you get elected, you don't work for ECUA. I work for the people. If you're too entrenched in government, then you just do what the government,
Right.
and they've been there, the employees have been there a long time, and so, you can say no. I learned that when I said no to tunnels underneath State Road 292 for mouse.
Right.
I said, that's just ridiculous. Why should I make the people pay for tunnels underneath the road for a mouse? I don't think government's job is to take care of mice. I think it's to take care of infrastructure and public safety only. And so, but one thing, when you're in office, things can also get too political.
Right.
And so I learned from Elvin, and Elvin's a Democrat and I'm a Republican, but I learned a lot of things from Elvin. But one of the things I learned from him was you can't make decisions based on politics. When he was in the middle of a really heated race, there were people running against him. There was a large piece of infrastructure that we needed to do on Palafox. And there were a lot of people in an affluent neighborhood that thought this was going to be bad. They were out there saying that it was going to stink.
I think I know where this is leading.
I remember
Yes, it was going to smell. There was going to be sewer running down Palafox Street. Elvin,
I was one of them.
Yes, she was one of
Well,
them.
I wasn't saying all that. I just wasn't sure. I didn't know.
But
I
Elvin
was
knew
listening
that
to
that
him.
wasn't true. And he steadfast. He was steadfast. He could have jumped over and said, no, we don't need to build it there. And it was in his district, And so he held steadfast, even though it was an election year, and he did the right thing.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about that from that. Right now we're building a huge piece of infrastructure in my district.
Okay.
And there will be people that are against that, but it's the right thing to do for the people. It's a right thing to do for all of the people. That thing on Palafox was the right thing that was the right thing to do at the time. We have not gotten one complaint, not one complaint about that piece
And
of
I
infrastructure.
drive past it
What
every
is it?
single day, and you don't even
Yeah.
notice it because
It's a tank.
The project, that's going on.
For redundancy. The one in my district is going to be the transfer station.
Okay.
So what happens now is your garbage trucks.
Right.
And think about how much we have grown in the last 10 years, okay? Think about how many garbage trucks we have and think about where they have to go. They have to go up Pine Forest Road to 9 Mile Road to Beulah Road. Then they have to go to the landfill. Have you ever been
It's
to
a lot
landfill?
of
You know there's a
driving.
windy road that goes up to the top of that landfill.
Right.
My trucks are on that all day, every day. Okay?
They topple over.
They topple over. They cost $500,000. When I first came on the board, they were $300,000. Now they're over $500,000. They topple over up there, and then we have to buy a new truck. Not only that, they're driving up there, spending all that time driving up there. If we build this transfer station in the middle of the county,
They can't finish their routes.
then they will go to the transfer station, drop off their load, go right back out and pick up more garbage.
Okay.
Instead of all the way out to Beulah.
Instead of all the way to
up the top
Beulah.
of the
So,
mountain.
The trucks will no
unloaded,
longer be
back
driving
down.
through the middle of Beulah, which is becoming a very populated area. They will not be driving up that landfill and tipping over, which is very expensive out of your pocket and my pocket to pay for those trucks. And the facility is fantastic. It is all inside. There's not one piece of garbage that's going to go on the ground there. Like you've seen these transfer stations where the
a
garbage
mess.
is poured on the ground and then scooped up and
So
put in a truck.
Right.
This
That's
is
not
all
how.
going to be tidy and put in its spot.
Well, it's all going to be inside, number one.
Yeah.
The 18-wheeler drives underneath ground in. The trucks come in and dump into it. So they're not dumping on the ground and then pouring
They're
into.
dumping it directly into
the truck.
Oh, that is so smart.
That truck will be covered up
Uh-huh.
and then go to the landfill. So no garbage running off on Pine Forest Road.
So
no
instead of
highway.
taking all the time for the garbage trucks to drive to Beulah, that would take 2 hours.
Yep.
An hour there, an
Oh,
hour
yeah.
back.
Sometimes they have to go pick up the garbage the next day.
Yeah, because they don't have enough time to finish their route.
And think about it, we're growing,
And like
especially
this-
Beulah.
Yeah.
Beulah-
So you
Beulah-
have
Beulah is
customers.
But everybody's suffering because of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they have to go dump off up there, and then they have to go all the way back to Perdido Key.
You have
Or
customers
Pensacola Beach, or wherever they're
where
going.
they see the garbage truck pick up their neighbor's garbage, but they don't pick up their garbage. The garbage
right.
truck turns around and leaves.
And then they call me and say, they missed mine. No, they'll be back.
Will ultimately it get to that station, or this will be the station? This will be the final resting place of this load right here. We'll be able to dispose of this load.
Yeah, this transfer
right?
station will be the final resting place for this load for that truck.
Mm-hmm.
That truck will then get out and pick up garbage again. The 18-wheeler that they dump it into will go to the landfill.
So there will be no garbage at the transfer station.
Okay.
So several trucks will dump into this, compact it into that, and that will go to the landfill.
How can you complain about that?
I know.
That's modern technology. It's saving you money, and
It is the best thing that we have done since we did the recycle facility.
Is it only for your district, or is it
No,
for
it's for the whole county. It's the whole county. Just like that thing in Elvin's district was for the whole county.
But it'll be physically located.
It's physically located in mine, so I'll take the flak for it. But
In your
it's the
district.
right thing to do.
And we'll support you.
And that's what Elvin taught me is it was, even though it was in his district, it was the right thing to do. And he didn't say, I'm not going to vote for it. I'm going to let y'all four vote for it.
Yeah.
That was a good lesson for me. It was like, do the right thing, even if it
He
makes some
knew
people
it would-
angry.
He knew that it had to go there because of the engineering.
Exactly.
I went and spoke with the executive director because there was all this flack about it.
Yep.
So I went and spoke with the executive director because I wanted to find out exactly what was going on. I didn't want to listen to hearsay and everybody being upset and emotional about it. I wanted to know how, what was going on. So he explained it to me, and the light bulb went off. It was like it has to go there because that's where all the pipes go to already, because of the pump.
Yeah.
The pump was already there. So they had to put the emergency tank there, and it was actually for our benefit. Same thing with your.
Transfer
Well,
station.
Elvin knew that it was going to be voted to go there. He could have politically gained political votes, in favor from the masses that were against it. But instead, he held firm and voted for it.
He did, because it was the right thing to do. So that was a moment for me.
That was a moment, and that's a wonderful story. And now little birdie whispered in my ear, and people always whispering in my ear something about Elvin and one of those water tank things up in the sky that eventually is gonna.
Oh yeah, the Elvin McCorvey well.
Yeah, somebody, a little birdie told me that. I just want to find out from you. Is that true that we may have something on the way with his name on it?
Oh, absolutely, yes. We already voted on that. It's going to happen. It's a well that's going to be that Elvin McCorvey.
Okay.
Named after Elvin.
Okay.
He was a good man. Elvin also. You can thank him for our cybersecurity and our updates to technology, because he and I were two of the ones that pushed really hard, $500,000 to upgrade all of that, and it
and I'm gonna shut up and let Priscilla get back to where she was at. I'm sure I've interrupted her a couple of times.
That's okay.
I love your questions. It allows me to put check marks off on the list. So.
I promise I'll set up the next 5
Fine.
minutes.
So infrastructure and redundancy. Well, what's coming up?
That's a great question, and you have to have a level of redundancy, especially where we live, because we have hurricanes, right? So we have done a lot of infrastructure repair and redundancy. We have several improvements going in the Beulah area, including a new force main. Beulah is the fastest growing community in the county, and it sits in my district, District 1.
Fast too.
It is. But they don't have a lot of sewer up there.
No, they need it. They're going to need it for sure. I mean,
But
the way
Beulah
they're
is
doing.
really growing. So we've got a lot of improvements going in there. We have phase 1 of the interarity water main upgrade. So there's right now a 6-inch main and an 8-inch main going to Interarity Island. That is being changed to the 6-inch is going to be turned into 12-inch. And the 8-inch will be the redundant line. So they are going to see a very good increase in their flow. And that's what people want. Just want to make sure that they have plenty of flow. So the flows are going to get better in Beulah. Flows are going to get better in Perdido. Perdido Key redundant force main. There's a main that goes to the island, right? It's on the bridge.
On the bridge.
That bridge is old. Number one, the bridge is old. It's going to have to be replaced eventually.
Yeah.
And sooner, more than later.
Right.
Also, what if a barge hits that bridge?
No water.
No sewer.
Oh.
No water, no
Yeah.
sewer. So, yeah, so we
You
are
would
putting
have
in
a
a,
catastrophe.
so we are putting
if-
in a redundant force main east of the bridge under the intercoastal.
Yeah.
So, we'll still be using.
That's what I was
Yeah.
going to ask. Is
That'll
it
be
gonna
a backup.
Under the water.
Again, the project, it's been designed and construction's gonna begin this year.
It would just be like the one going to Pensacola Beach or to Gulf Breeze.
So it's gonna begin this year. That sewer expansion for Inner Island they're already working on that now. Let's see what else we got. We got the transfer station. All of these things are designed already. The Beulah force main, that's designed already, should be started later or they may have already started it just recently, but if they didn't, they will start it very soon. The Inner water main, that has already started construction this year. When we go to phase 2 of that, that's phase 1. When we go to phase 2 of that, I would like to see us do some more sewer expansion because, believe it or not, there are still places that are on the intercoastal that are not on sewer. They're on septic, and we don't want that leaking into the
So
waterways.
since Perdido is incorporating,
Okay.
is that going to affect ECUA at all?
No.
So
No, it won't affect us at all if they incorporate, and they are talking about incorporation. And if they do incorporate, they told me that they will still use ECUA services as well as
That's probably 2 or 3 years. If that happened, it's
If it
further
happens,
down.
yeah.
If it happened, I if I had to take a take on it, it's down the road. It's almost like I remember we was talking about the strong mayor at one time back in the late 80s and 90s. I remember my Mayor Collier, Mayor, a couple other people, we met in the building that he's at now. And at that time, someone else was running that building. And we talked about it, and we just couldn't see it happening. And then all of a sudden, it happened. So I don't see it. That's just Charles talking. I don't see the population there yet.
For incorporate Perdido. Here's my sentiments. I'm a people person. I think if they want to vote on it, let them vote on it.
Yeah.
And if it happens, it happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
what if they told the city of Pensacola you couldn't be a city? And I do understand they're wanting to incorporate. I understand that because I live there.
Oh, you live there?
I live in
Okay.
Perdido, and I noticed that we don't have a lot of things that Pensacola Beach and downtown Pensacola have.
Okay.
But we pay 16% of the tax base, and we pay a huge amount of the tourist and development tax.
Okay.
So you see, we're paying, but we're not getting that much back. So we talked about
So you need
incorporating.
representation.
So we talked about incorporation. We started a group called Incorporate Perdido 20 years ago. We quickly changed the name to Envision Perdido because at the time our county commissioner heard us.
And said no.
He heard us loud and clear. There were several things that we wanted, and we got them. We got a $10 million sports complex for our children. We were playing on a little bitty field this big. We got sidewalks down Gulf Beach Highway. We got a new building for our Chamber of Commerce on Perdido Key. So there were some things that we wanted that we weren't getting attention. And so when I met with the people that were doing it this time, I said, make a list, man, make a list. Make a list of the things that you want for Perdido, and then maybe you'll get them even if you don't get incorporation.
What does the county fund? You're coming up short. You're saying based on your input into the treasury, the output is there's the disparity.
So although we pay more in tourism development tax than the city of Pensacola, we get less of that tax back.
Is it from the county or from the city of Pensacola?
It's from the tourism development tax because we don't have a vote. We don't vote on that. But if they
The county
incorporated,
commissioner does.
but if they incorporated, they would have a seat on the tourism development tax board. So see, there's reasons, and I understand why they want to do it, and my thoughts on it. And I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm not saying I would vote on it if. But here's what I will say: I think everybody deserves to. I don't think I live in a dictatorship.
Right.
No.
I think if they want to vote on it, they should be able to vote on it. Now they didn't get to vote on it this time
That's what I was looking at. I was looking at the reason they did not get to vote.
They didn't get to vote because they didn't have all their ducks in a row. And so if you want something,
Make a list.
you have, well, they needed to, that wasn't why they didn't get to vote. They didn't get to vote because they weren't ready to vote yet. But I think that they will continue down that path, and they will probably get there, and then they will get to vote. And if I'm not afraid of a vote.
Yeah,
Obviously,
right.
I'm running for public office.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid of the vote. I think that people should get to vote on everything that they want or need.
And they need representation, though.
Exactly.
And you said that because I'm on the Santa Rosa and Island Authority. I'm on the authority, and I get to see the report where I get it from.
You get some of the money.
We get money, and I get to see what Perdido. It's all on that sheet that we get from Pam Childers' office.
They need a
And you guys do. You guys do funding, and we look at you and we talk about, and every now and then Perdido come up. Good luck on that. Because you're growing. I know you're growing. So good luck. I did not know. I did not know in detail what it was. I just
if they do nothing more than bring light to the issue, then good for them. I mean, I'm not afraid of people speaking out of what they want.
Right.
Doesn't bother me at all.
So now you're gonna have me right here supporting Perdido.
Well, what if they just had a Perdido Island Authority like the Santa Rosa Island Authority? Wouldn't that
See, that whole thing happened with Santa Rosa Island Authority because the government owned it, and back in 1948, the government handed over to the county and all that stuff.
That's funny you say that because Gene Valentino, when he was in office, Gene had it, and I thought it was a great idea. He wanted he said, why is it a Santa Rosa Island Authority? Why is it not a waterfront island authority for the entire waterfront? Have you ever been to Jacksonville?
Oh yeah.
Their whole waterfront is great.
It should be. I think it should be. Or you should have. Maybe you should have your own authority or something like that because
we have a lot of waterfront that is not making the potential tax dollars that it could be making for this county. Look at some of the areas of downtown Pensacola, Warrington, Gulf Beach Highway. Look at some of the areas. They're not.
Perdido and we've gotten on this, and I just have to ask the question. Who do they like the Santa Rosa and Island Authority? We report to the county.
Yeah.
Now in Perdido, who does Perdido? Who controls? Who controls? Who's actually
just the county?
The county.
The county.
The county commissioner.
We don't. Yeah, we don't have an island authority. We don't have.
So there's no buffer.
That's all they need. They don't need to incorporate. They just need an island authority.
Well,
anyway, I'm going to
not mine to figure out. I'm trying to
that's
figure out water, sewer, and garbage. But
that's a good.
They got a group of people that are working on it, and people being
it would give them
involved
representation
in
to
their
the county.
community is not a bad thing. I think it's a great thing.
Of course,
it's a great thing. I'm involved.
Perdido's a great place to live because the neighbors out there love each other. Even when half of them are for incorporation and the other half aren't, they're still friends. They still go have spaghetti dinner on Wednesday night.
Well, I think it's a good thing. I'm in District 3, and I'm involved in my community. I get up and I think they should. I think you should to a certain point you should be involved. You should always care about your own community.
But don't be afraid of the other side. Let everybody talk.
Yeah. Priscilla said I was going to take a break. Okay.
So when I was on the Citizens Advisory Committee, it's all just a learning experience. And I learned so much, just going to the meetings and just listening. I may have been quiet a lot of times, but I was absorbing some information because I'm just so intrigued with it. But I loved the acronyms, like FOG and I, and it seems like there were some other ones that I don't really remember, but when you talk about FOG, and when people from ECUA are talking about FOG and I, and there's an SO something, what is it? SO, sewer and overflow.
Oh, sanitary sewer overflow.
Yeah, SSO.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would hear board members and engineers, talking about this stuff, and I'd be like, FOG. They're
So
talking about
fog
fog.
is
What
fats,
is
oils, and
fog?
grease.
Yeah.
And it's funny. We just redistrict, so I didn't used to represent Perdido Key, the island, or Innerarity, because my district stopped at Perdido Bay Country Club Estates, where I live. So, I went right up to where all of my friends live, but I didn't represent them. So now I do. One of the things that they have is they had a private sewer system out on Innerarity Island, and they converted that, and now they have a different. It's not gravity fed sewer, but they have individual grinder pumps at each house.
Okay.
So nowhere in the county should you put fats, oils, and grease down your drain. Just like nowhere in the county should you flush a flushable wipe, right? It's the worst thing you can do is flush anything down your toilet except
toilet
for
paper.
toilet paper and waste. That's
Right,
it.
right.
It's the only two things that should go down there. Don't throw a Q-tip in there. Don't put your dental
Diapers are a big thing.
diapers. Don't put your dental floss in there. Don't
Right.
throw your flushable wipe. There's no such thing as a flushable wipe, even though they say it on the side.
I know. We need
it's not true.
legislation to make them stop saying that, because
No,
I
we
saw.
don't. We need educated people. We got to quit depending on government to do everything for us. We need to read.
Well, they shouldn't be
More.
allowed to say flushable wipes.
No, you're right, they
Because,
shouldn't.
because that's a lie. It's not true.
And if we kind of go to the website, and for those who don't want to go to the website, every time I get a bill, I get a newsletter.
Yep.
And trust me, people, when you get your bill, you not only get the bill, but you get information within that bill. You get a newsletter, and you might want to look over that newsletter, and you may learn something about ECUA
Or go to the website.
that you don't know, or go to the website.
Education is so important,
Yeah,
and we're doing commercials now on the bulk waste, because that was a big change.
Yeah.
But it was a money thing, Plus, we were picking up. Like, we would pick up a basketball goal, and then somebody would call and go, "You picked up my basketball goal. I didn't mean for you to pick that up." And then we had to
because it's out by the
replace the
road.
basketball goal. So, we couldn't just pick up bulk waste, because one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? So, that had to be changed. Most people don't even get bulk waste.
Do we still have the call in where a person,
Yeah.
if a person want you to do a special pickup or something,
Yeah.
or we'll send a supervisor or somebody
So
out?
has that changed with bulk waste? You call in
Yeah,
now?
you call in
So
now.
they're not just going to come by and get it?
No,
They do in the city, but not in the
Yeah,
county.
that changed last July.
So you can still call in, and
Yeah.
and most of the time.
Oh yeah, they'll pick it up. You just have to call, and if they miss, call.
you
Let
call
them know on the app, or give your representative a call. I got a call today that they had forgotten someone's bulk waste. We got it today. So.
What about yard debris pickup? Do you have to call for that? Or
if they miss it?
No, do they just come around?
Oh
every
no,
month?
they just pick it up every.
Okay.
Yeah, they pick it up every.
Yeah,
week.
and what you do, you can actually put it in a plastic bag, and if it's like limbs and stuff, I think we still can put them in a neat pile, and
You can
all
put
of
it
this
in a
stuff.
neat pile, but don't put it in a plastic bag. Put it in a paper bag.
Oh, put it in a
Yeah.
paper bag now.
They have paper bags at Lowe's, Walmart, at just about every grocery
you
store.
And they're big.
You're just educating
it's
me.
not
And the
just-
reason that you want it in a paper bag is because we take it to the compost facility, and we can compost that paper bag. So we can turn it all. Now, if you put it in a plastic bag, we have to take the plastic bag off, and so it just adds to the process. And we
Okay.
don't use, if you put it in a plastic bag,
You'll still pick it up.
we'll
but
still pick it up, we'll still
causes kind of
compost
a-
it, but we use it for cover at the landfill. We don't use it for compost. So
I am guilty.
and back on the fog,
You're not the only one. It's
back
a
on
big
the
thing.
fog, the worst thing you can pour down your drain, what do you think that is?
Grease.
The
Milk.
Milk.
I knew it.
For real?
Yeah, so I was talking to a guy, poor guy's out on
It
Innerarity.
it sticks
and
to your pipes.
Yeah, he just called me right before the show, and he said, my alarm's going off on my grinder pump. And I said, well, call your warranty company, but do you know you can't put flushable wipes? I don't do that. I said, you know you can't put this? And he goes, I don't do that. And I said, well, you know you can't put milk down your drain. And he goes,
I do that every morning after I eat my cereal.
Milk, cause milk.
Yeah, it's a fat. It coagulates, gets in your drain, clogs it up.
So everybody who has one of those just needs a refrigerator magnet.
Yes.
Don't put this down your drain or your
Yes.
toilet, because it'll clog up your grinder.
And I'm gonna tell you something. This is a little joke. I always, when I go see Bruce, if every now and then I go see Bruce, and I say I'm gonna go downstairs and get me some of that ECUA water, because you got a little thing in the conference room there. But I found out that I could get some of that same ECUA water at my house. I don't have to go out to ECUA to get a drink out that fountain.
They bring the bottles in the cooler.
I thought that was a little.
Just take your jug down to ECUA.
Yeah,
that's funny.
It's drinkable. It's my pipe for you. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. You got good water.
Yeah. So, what made you decide to run again? Is it a big decision each time?
It is a big decision. It's a big decision because, I have a business to run. I have a family. My husband, you always have to ask your family first. Is it okay if I run? Because my son and I run a business together, and my husband. So, they have to pick up the slack when I'm not there. I'm not there right now, and we're busy. So,
Right.
they have to pick up the slack when I'm not there. So you have to talk to them about that. Your spouse, it's important. It takes away from the time I spend with my church. I'm a member of St. John's, and I love it, and it takes away from that time. So it's a big decision. But I think that I have a little work left to do. I really want to see this transfer station through, and I think we're doing a good job. And the people will tell. The people will vote, and if they agree that I'm doing a good job, I try to return every phone call, every email, and every message that I get. Try to take care of the people. I realize still, after this time on the board, that I don't work for ECUA. I work for the people of District 1. And if they agree, they'll vote me back in.
I have my reason or my thinking as to why you're running, or why I'm glad you're running, because you don't have an agenda. You're not running with an agenda. You're just running to kind of get the job done like you've always got it done, continuous improvement. Like ECUA is continuous developing, continuously evolving, and some folks come in because they want to, you're trying to kill us with this or that, or they have an agenda to make noise to get in, but Vicki is beyond that, and she's actually doing the work and doing the job. If somebody's actually doing the job, and their only agenda is serving you, I think they should be put back in there.
I see you as being passionate and knowledgeable of the workings of ECUA. You know what needs to be done to make it run more efficiently and smoothly, and you're willing to research. And you have answers. When people call you, you're like, oh, I don't know, let me find out and I'll call you back. You have answers. You already know. And I look up to you. You are my mentor.
Oh, God.
Before the Sunshine Laws, before I was appointed onto the Citizens Advisory Committee, you and I had many conversations. I learned a lot. I could ask you questions. I could tell you what I thought. You could tell me facts about what was going on. And I really appreciated that.
Thank you.
So you have my full support.
Thank you. Before I went on the board, the
Always.
first time I remember talking to every single board member.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from Elvin. I learned a lot from Larry Walker.
I did too.
He's like a walking encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And Lois Benson, just amazing leader. And I learned a lot from Lois. Dale Perkins, Dale Perkins and I, we agree on almost everything. Sometimes when he's talking, I'm like, holy cow.
Did he steal your notes?
Did you steal my notes?
Yeah.
Mine?
Yeah.
Because he's very good. He's a little political sometimes, and but he's
very good and knowledgeable.
He's very
also,
knowledgeable.
yeah.
He's very smart though when it comes to politics.
Right.
I have a lot to learn when it comes to politics, but he's very smart. So I watch him a lot, and he's very good.
The board has a good makeup. We have a good board. Even Larry, Larry came in, and one of the first things he done was he came out to the house. He would probably say I don't show him as much love as I should show him. That's because I love him, and I just want to keep him on his toes. But yeah,
Larry Williams,
he's a good guy.
He asked the most thoughtful questions of any board member ever. A lot of times when you go on a new board, you don't ask as many questions as you should. I probably was guilty of that, but He asks so many insightful questions, and it's good.
I remember going to his wedding, and that's where I met Bruce at. I met Bruce, first time I met Bruce was at Larry Williams' a wedding. He told me all about his daughter was an artist and this and that. She drew pictures and stuff. And he told me a little bit about your golf game, but we won't talk about that.
It's my favorite thing to do when I am not working is play golf. I think everybody in town knows that. I'd rather play golf than just about anything besides going to church. I like my church. I like to play golf.
Do we stay busy with water issues in the developing areas now? Is our main focus on water lines and things like that, or what's the focus on those upcoming? When an area is getting ready to develop a new area, what is it that ECUA looks at first?
Well, at ECUA, number one, development pays for development, which is we have the developers lay out everything on the subdivision, and so the bad thing about that right now is it's very expensive to develop real estate, and we are suffering when it comes to affordable housing. So we have looked at a couple of policy changes just recently to help the affordable housing dilemma that we face.
Okay.
So that is another thing with ECUA. You have to look at where you are at all time, and we talked about this. If you look at the last board meeting, you can. It's a long board meeting, but listen to it because it was some good information on policy change for affordable housing.
We're going to have to invite you back on because I want to continue this discussion. I want to ask you if the infrastructure is already in place for the amount of growth going on in Beulah, but we can't answer that right now because our time is up.
It's growing.
So the Thornton Review is on the air to provide public service awareness and intellectual infrastructure to our community. You can watch our program on our newest outlet, Pensacola Urban Network, Praise TV on WBQP 12.1 and 12.8, and you can watch us on Praise TV on Roku Television Network or download Praise TV on Google Play Store. This show is made possible by Ida Gates Godly Teas LLC, Alpha Fence Company, and our guest Vicki Campbell, District 1 Board Member of the Emerald Coast Utilities Authority. We thank you for watching this episode of the Thornton Review. Bye-bye.